I shouldn't be talking, really. I did mention that I have had supernatural experiences, and I have. So did my father. He refused to call a ghost, but have I in some long ago video mentioned that his mother was a medium? And that as a child, so he obviously did remember something before he was 10, unless this took place in Germany. As a child, he saw a table lift itself up the stairs and then fall back down. It had been a séance, you know, the joined hands linked around the table. And apparently the table travelled up the stairs on its own and then back down. I do believe, and actually this is not a way out theory, because physicists are also beginning to believe in parallel universes. I do believe in parallel universes. Quantum physics. Some quantum physicists have recently concluded that there are parallel universes. Well, there certainly seem to have been some in my life and my father's. Subsequently, my father saw, as described to me somewhere in India, probably Bangalore, a woman in a long blue dress walk through a wall. Swears he was sober, and swears it wasn't a ghost. Well, a ghost by any other name is still a ghost, I suppose, or a person from a parallel universe. He also referred to another occasion when he found he was looking at a cyclist and could see straight through this cyclist to the whatever was beyond. Still swore no, that wasn't a ghost. My brother is not immune to this family, don't know what to call it. My brother saw one of my great aunts after her death on 2 separate occasions, and also swears he was sober, and says the hair on the back of his neck stood up at the time on those occasions. I have also experienced the hair on the back of my neck standing up, but that was because in the suburbs of a city I also was sober. I ran into a big cat, by which I don't mean a big tabby cat, I mean a panther or something of that order. And there was nothing between me and it, and no car to get into, and yes, the hair on the back of my neck did stand up. That was not a ghost, however. Other people did see it, and it subsequently made the local papers. Perhaps the other people had the good fortune not to see it at 3 a.m. with no one around, and actually note that the cat was stalking them, which it definitely was. It was stalking me. So that's not supernatural. That was a real cat. I was just thinking of the hairs on the back of one's neck standing up. I have also seen a ghost. Mine was particularly horrific, and it could possibly be some kind of flashback, I don't know. It didn't seem to be, though. It was a skull floating. First of all, I felt a weight pinning me down, like somebody kneeling on top of me. And there was a skull floating over me with blonde hair attached to it. Well, I didn't stay long in that room. I'm also sensitive to cold spots, what they call cold spots. I couldn't wait to get out of the Chateau de Chillon in Switzerland because there was an ice cold spot. And of course bad things did happen in the Chateau de Chillon. And the same happened to me in the town hall in Gouda. I knew nothing about it when I went into it, except that there it was, a hot summer's day, and an icy spot in it. And subsequently I learned that witches had been taken from there, had been tried there and taken from there to be burned or hanged or whatever fate awaited them. And on top of that, I've had precognitive dreams. Some of them were totally inconsequential. I mean, they were trivia, but they came true. The most memorable one was on New Year's Eve 1982, and I dreamed that 3 people had been crushed to death in Trafalgar Square. Well, of course, I didn't see a paper for about 2 days after that. I told my husband, I was still married at the time, and 2 days later, there it was in the paper that indeed 3 people had been crushed on New Year's Eve in Trafalgar Square. Actually, I'm not sure my dream told me the location. I just knew that 3 people had been crushed to death. And I got the sex ratio right, although I've now forgotten it again, I'm sorry to say. Was it 2 men and a woman or 2 women and a man? I can't remember, but I got it right at the time. So, somehow, there are doors into other worlds, which on the whole I think are better left shut. Because after all, if there are holes into other worlds, we don't know what might come through, do we? And although I deeply resent suggestions that I am demonically possessed, and what is actually happening is that I am suffering a trigger reaction, a post-traumatic stress trigger reaction. Deeply resent suggestions that I'm demonically possessed. I can't help but note that the symptoms of demonic possession are identical to the symptoms of multiple personality disorder, which is now called DID, dissociative identity disorder. Identical symptoms. So I don't know. I mean, are the fundamentalist Christians right, or are the psychiatrists right? Who knows? The supernatural.